Okay, welcome back to the Are You Strong show. I have an awesome guest on the show today, and I'm really happy to say she is my youngest guest so far on the show. Out of 46 shows, she's the youngest one, but you're not going to know that after you talk to her and hear about all the things she's accomplished. And I'm just going to read off a couple of things before I introduce her. But she's currently a sophomore at University of Georgia on the golf team. She played at Georgetown, transferred to Georgia. But while at Georgetown, some pretty cool stuff. She was freshman of the year in the Big East. She was first team All Big East. Her average golf score was 73.23, which if that's incredible. She was second in the 2024 Big East Championship, qualified for the U.S. Women's Amateur. And what I also found out by doing a little homework on her, golf is a family affair. So it's a big thing in her and her life. But I want to welcome to the show Morgan Smith.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. So I'm Morgan. I'm from Westford, Massachusetts, which is like 40 minutes north of Boston, and I play golf, and it's been a huge part of my life. It's been a huge part of my family's life. So I have two younger sisters who play, and my dad plays a lot as well. My mom plays a little bit, but it's really been something that we've done as a family for as long as I can remember.
Now, who's the most I'm going to guess it's you, but who's the
Mm.
most competitive golfer in the family?
We're all very, very competitive. I'd say it's a toss-up between my sister Molly and I.
Okay, all right. Now, yeah, I guess it depends on who you talk to, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have a slew of questions to ask you today, and
Okay.
the first thing I want to ask is, well, out of all the sports you could have played, you know, golf. What inspired you to play golf?
Yeah. I mean, funny enough, I actually didn't like golf when I was really young. And then my sister Molly, she always loved golf, like from a very, very early age. She would always go with my dad and they would ask me to come and I was always be like, no, no, like I'm not interested. And then when Molly was 9, she qualified for the drive, chip, and putt, which in the grand scheme of golf, it's a very small thing because you're hitting 9 shots. But it was just a really cool experience. So my whole family was able to go to Augusta National, and Molly was on the 18th green putting, and she was on TV, and it was such a cool experience. And that was the first time I really witnessed the kind of opportunities that golf can give you. And immediately after we all went, we saw the practice round the day after of the Masters. It was just a super, super cool experience. And then immediately after that, they call it like the golf bug. I got the golf bug, and I just really, since then, I haven't put a club down.
You were hooked.
Yeah,
Now, how old were you at that point?
I was 11.
11. It's
Yeah.
funny, I don't care, boys, girls, whatever. At 11 years old, they can't to figure out what TV show they want to watch, let alone what sport they're going to play. So that is really cool. Well, you played at Georgetown first,
Mhm.
and then you transferred to Georgia. Um, but I always like to ask this question to current college athletes about the recruiting process coming out of high school.
Right.
And how that experience was it stressful? Was it easy? Who was your support mechanism? How did you figure out where to go?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'll be completely honest, recruiting was really, really hard. And that's also why I ended up deciding to do the 5th year of high school, just to give myself a little bit more time. And I also feel like just my recruiting class, and the ones kind of around me were really affected by COVID, just with, additional eligibility being granted to the students who were in college. So they were getting more years, and high schoolers were, losing spots and now having to compete against 23-year-olds who are going for 5th years when,
Yeah.
I'm coming in as an 18-year-old and, I've lived at home my whole life. So I just feel like that made it really challenging. And I also feel like I've progressed a lot since. So it was like the fall of my senior year. Actually, I didn't get any of the offers to the schools that I wanted to go to. So instead of deciding to go to a school that I didn't really want to go to, or to not play golf, I decided to do a post grad year. So I went to Phillips Exeter and I PG'd there for a year, and that was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. It gave me an extra year just to play more golf tournaments, work on the things that I needed to work on, which a big thing for me was being able to hit it further. So I worked a lot on like strength training and just like power and like speed sticks. And that was really helpful. I gained like 11 miles per hour that winter of my senior year, heading into, what would be like my gap year time. And then that summer actually was, not now, but at the time, I feel like it was the best golf I ever played that summer. I came out in June. I won the New England Women's Am, so that was really big. That was really the first amateur tournament I ever won. And then I played pretty good that whole summer, and then I won the Mass Am, and then I decided to go to Georgetown.
Wow. Now, what was the deciding factor at Georgetown? How did you end up picking that school?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just for me, like both both sides of it are super important. Like I wanted to go to a good academic and athletic school, and I feel like Georgetown gave me a good opportunity for that. I mean, my dream is to play professional golf, but I'm also realistic and I know how hard it is to do that. I also think like, I just feel like confidence is something that I struggled with like pretty much my entire golf life. And um, I don't know if I entirely believe then that I could be a successful professional golfer. And like even now, like I want to believe that I really do, but it's hard. So I feel like I really tried to pursue the academic route. Um, and Georgetown's a great school. I had a lot of fun there. I made some great friends, but ultimately um it wasn't the right golf environment for
Yeah.
me.
It wasn't the right fit. That's okay. So
Yeah.
so you mentioned before you struggle with confidence. Now, in all the team sports, and I'm not going to take anything away from the football guys, the baseball guys, the hockey guys, the basketball guys, the volleyball. I can go on. They can kind of hide a little bit, for lack of better
Hmm.
words. And again, no
Hmm.
disrespect to any of them. But when you're a
Yeah.
golfer, a tennis player, a wrestler, it's just you. So
Yeah.
what's it like when you're out there? What's going on in your mind? Because you said before maybe you struggle with confidence. Like, how did that struggle? What kind of conversations are going on in your head when you're out there playing golf?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a big part of my like say lack of confidence just came from I was always compared to my sister Molly. And because she started playing before me, she was just better than me for, a lot of our like young adult life, and like junior golf stuff too. So I feel like just like that constant comparison and just like doubt, like it just made it really hard for me into thinking that I could do it too. Um, and even now, like everybody knows who Molly is. Like you go to tournaments and it's like, oh my gosh, you're Molly Smith's sister. And Molly is so cool. She's so good at golf, but it's like, I'm Morgan.
Now,
And
is
I just
Molly
like,
playing now or no?
yeah, she plays at UCF Central Florida.
Okay. Did you
Yeah.
guys play each other?
Yeah, we did. We played, we were both at the University of Illinois event in October. So that was really fun.
That must have been fun, huh?
Yeah, and we both played really well, so that was cool too.
That's got, not just being fun, that's got to be emotional.
Yeah, no, it was kind of crazy because my dad actually he went to that event too, and um, I mean that was the best tournament I've ever played. I shot 10 under par, and
Really?
I finished, yeah, and I shot 66 the last round, and I finished, and my dad like he was so happy, but he was almost like tearing up a little because he's kind of an emotional soft
Oh
guy, but
yeah.
that's okay.
I'm getting
He
welled
was
up just hearing it.
he was like, Morgan, you played so well. That's the best you've ever seen you play. And you know what? You only beat Molly by a shot. So it was like I played so well, and Molly shot 9 under too. So that was really cool.
But the good thing is you beat her.
Yeah, yeah,
You only in golf, that's the greatest thing about golf. You just got to win by one,
right, right.
you
But
know?
you can also lose by one, which is a tough part
Yeah, we
too.
don't talk about losing. We're just going to talk about winning. Uh,
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so can you, but talk about that, what's it like to be out there with I don't know what you got, I imagine you've had like 30-foot putts, 40-foot putts or something. When you're
Mhm.
leaning over looking at the ball, like, what are you saying to yourself when you're in a major pressure tournament like that? Like, what are you saying?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it depends. So I don't actually look at the leaderboards. So I'll look at the leaderboards in between rounds, but during the rounds, I my phone is completely off. I don't want to know where the numbers are at. And especially in college golf, like the chances that you're actually going to be paired with the person that if you're saying second, the chances that you're going to be paired with the first person are not super high just because it's paired off of by team leaderboard, not by individual leaderboard. Um, so in college golf, it's really hard to know where you stand, which you can use to your advantage. And just like, I mean, that day I was really just trying to focus on playing my best round of golf. Um, but like, I mean, if you're looking over a putt, like you're trying to make it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like the best mindset that you can have. Um, I don't know, like my team this fall, actually, we've really been, because I feel like my team, we're all kind of like the underdogs, I would say. So we've been working with our performance coach here. And one of the days we worked specifically on confidence. And a big thing they were telling us was confidence is a choice. Confidence is a choice.
Mm.
So just like reminding yourself that you can step up there and choose to believe in yourself and choose to know that you can do this and you've practiced it before. Like that kind of mind shift, I guess, is really helpful. Cause also like that tournament specifically, I would say that was like the tournament that in my entire life I played with the most like flow. And it was like, even if I hit a bad shot, well, my next shot can make up for it. Like my next shot can be that much better that this shot was fine. Obviously it's not the shot I was hoping for, but I can still make the best of it. Um, and like I do feel like it's really hard to get in a position like that. Like you have to be in a time when you're really trusting your game and you know where your ball is going to go. Um, but golf's a lot of up and downs, and sometimes you'll be riding that wave. And yeah, it was
Well,
really
how do
fun.
how do you know when when you're not riding the wave using that how
Mhm.
do you know when you like can you feel yourself being in a mental funk and like hey and like, if
Yeah.
so like what do you do to get out of it?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I think I'd say like the last spring, I was probably in a mental funk. Like I wasn't hitting the ball nearly as well as I wanted to. Um, I had a feeling I was probably going to enter the transfer portal, and that was stressful. Um, I mean, I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but what I kind of tried to do was you need to look at it from a broader picture. Like you are not just the golfer, person, or athlete that you represent today. You are years and years of hard work. And that's like what I needed to remind myself too. Like even when I got the offer from, my coaches here, I felt like I was playing really, really bad golf. And, when I entered the portal, I wasn't able to practice at Georgetown. So I came back and I was starting my summer season because I play a lot of tournaments over the summer. And I basically had not practiced for 2 weeks. And like, heading into your season, that's not really what you want to be doing. Um, but just knowing that those 2 weeks are not an accurate representation of the golfer I am. And like, I'll say like when I entered the portal, I had a lot of schools reach out, which was, I mean, a great thing. You want more than less in that situation. Um, so it was pretty rewarding, and like I feel like it was telling that like, people could start to see that I am a hard worker, and um even though I feel like my freshman year wasn't my best golf, like so many schools like thought it was good enough to want me on their team.
Your first team all Big East how much better does it get,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I wanted a win. That I had 3 runner-ups last year.
Well that's okay, it's better than being in third.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true.
That's right.
Yeah.
So can we talk about the transfer portal? I mean,
Mhm.
that is such a big thing today. Back, I'm an
Yeah,
old college athlete years ago. There was no such thing as transfer. You weren't allowed, even though you could get sit out. There was just nobody did it. Now it's
yeah,
it's like, hey, everybody's doing it. What's
yeah.
that like? First of all, you make that decision. What's it like
Hmm.
when you fill, I guess you got to go in there and fill out all kinds of stuff, and then
Yeah.
you hit the button and like you're in. Like, what's that like?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, my team, we didn't make it to regionals last year. So, right after our conference championship, I knew I was going to enter the portal. So I had that conversation with compliance before the portal opened, and I was like, I want to be entered in the portal right when it opens. So it opens for women's golf. It opens May 1, in the spring, because now there's 2 windows now. There's one at the end of the fall season, and there's one in the spring. Um, And, I honestly had no idea what to expect. And it was crazy. Like, I had a lot of schools reach out the first day, and then like the second day I had phone calls like basically every single hour. And I feel like also like after spending a year in college, like you really know what you're looking for. Um, and I do feel like I took my time with that decision because I wanted to make the right one, but I also had like my goals very clear and what I was looking for very clear. Um, and it was kind of like one of those things that was like once they gave me the offer to the University of Georgia and like it was a good offer and I felt like it was the right program, like it was a really no, it was a no-brainer for me.
Now, how did you know what you were looking for? Was it on paper? Did you talk to your parents about it? How did you come up with that? If you don't mind sharing it, that'd be cool. And then,
Yeah,
what was it like to have Georgia come in and say, "We want you"?
yeah. So it was actually kind of crazy because my coaches here are new this year. So they were originally at South Florida. So when I entered the portal, they had reached out to me with interest from South Florida, and I pretty much talked to everyone. So I was, yep, like let's schedule a phone call. And I'll say like my parents, like they knew how hard recruiting was for me the first time, and I feel like um, they feel like you know maybe they were leaning towards one school over another, and they kind of pressured me a little bit into choosing a school like Georgetown because it is so strong academically. They were kind of like we'll support your decision, but like you're making it on your own. Um, so as like my parents are great, but like this was my decision ultimately. Like I made it completely on my own. So I do feel like that was kind of tough that because like they really didn't even want to talk about it. They were like, you're deciding. Yeah. And then so I had talked to my coaches when they were at USF and they had interest there and I had really liked them when I spoke to them. And then I was kind of considering other options and then a couple weeks later I heard about them switching to Georgia and then they had reached back out with interest again at Georgia. Um, I called, they gave me a really good offer and it just made sense for me.
That's great. So, you know, can you list the two or three things you were looking for when you're in that
Yeah.
portal?
Yeah. So I know as like small as this may seem, I wanted to have my own car. I wanted to be in control of my own destiny and like how much I can practice. And, I didn't want to have to be reliant on, people who maybe didn't want to practice as much as me. So that was really, really big for me. Also unlimited access to golf courses. Like I love practicing. For me to feel confident going into tournaments, I put a lot of work in. So to just have like unlimited practice time, and have access to golf courses 7 days a week, that was really important. And then I also still wanted to go to a school that had a strong business program. And then this is a fourth one, but I wanted to go to a program that really felt like a family, and like had really supportive coaches who let me be who I am and support me in my dreams.
Mm. Now, that can we drive that a little bit? You see,
Hmm.
your coaches who let you be who you are. There's a lot of
Hmm.
coaches, Morgan, who don't do that.
I
They
know.
don't let at like this is the athlete you have to be if you're going to be on this team.
Right.
Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that was kind of a problem I ran into at Georgetown. Um, I feel like the expectation there, just because, the academics was so strong that it was like that needed to be more of your focus. And, I tried to advocate for myself. I tried to be able to practice more and um my coach just she didn't support it. And that was really like hard. Because I mean not to like pat myself on the back, but I had never really had challenges with the coach before and I feel like coaches have usually always liked me and um it was just crazy to me because my goal is to get better at golf. I went to college to get better at golf and I didn't I didn't feel that.
I can't imagine a coach saying, "We don't want you to practice anymore. We don't want you to get work on your game anymore." You know,
Yeah.
and
I
walking
mean,
into that scenario must have been like, "Oh my God, this is crazy."
yeah. I mean, it wasn't like she was like blatantly like, I don't want you to not practice. It was just like the access was limited, the transportation was limited, like everything that I had kind of expected did not
Yeah.
hold to be true.
Right. So you show up on campus in Georgia, right?
Hmm.
It's not that long ago, right? How long ago did you show up?
Yeah, because I came late. I had a tournament, so I missed the first couple of days of school. So I came at like August 20th.
Yeah. So it's like you can count the weeks,
Yeah.
right? So what's it like to go from a major city type school
Hmm.
to an SEC gigantic sports program, traditional college campus?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. Like we went to our first football game a couple weeks ago. That was really exciting. We're going to the Tennessee game the week after this weekend, so that'll be really fun too. But like Athens is it's just a great city. And actually I never thought I was from a small town. And then I went to live in DC for a year and I was like, okay, I'm definitely from a small town. Um, So yeah, I feel like also just like as a golfer, it's way easy to like be a golfer not in a city. So I've
Yeah.
really liked Athens a lot.
I had a golfer on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him a question. And you know the guy,
Hmm.
Xavier Marcoux from up your way.
Yeah,
And I asked him, I said, well, how much time do you put into practicing during the week golf? So
yeah.
I'll ask you the same question. How much time do you put in, you know, just out there practicing all your different swings?
It's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like golf is probably one of the most time consuming sports. Um, I mean, obviously there's, the 20 hours a week that you do with the team, but like, I mean, I would probably say it's closer to 40. I'm like any minute that I can be that I'm not in class or I don't have something else that I need to do, I'm at the golf course
Now, how
in
long does it take you
season.
to get from your dorm room to the golf course and ready to go?
Less than 10 minutes.
Oh my
It's
God, that's
great.
gotta be great.
Yeah, it's great.
Too bad they don't give you a golf cart just to take back and forth, right? So,
Yeah.
so you've been in school for a year and a couple of months,
Hmm.
between the two. Is there any one moment so far? I mean, you got so much time in front of you. Like I said to everybody on the show, you're the youngest athlete I've had, in 46 shows.
Hmm.
Um, so you have limited amount of experience so far. But what
Right.
you've had so far, what stands out the most is, man, this is the most memorable thing that's happened to you so far.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a really, really cool one was last year in the fall. Georgetown was invited to go to Scotland and play at the home of golf.
Mm.
It was the inaugural St. Andrews Invitational, and it was on TV. We were able to play, like I think we played with someone who works for NBC. Like it was just such an unreal experience. It's probably one of the coolest golf tournaments I've ever played in. I mean, like everything was perfect. And we also, which four teams went, we traveled with the men's team and we were able to, experience St. Andrews a little bit. And just like, I love golf so much. And to like see where this game was invented was just the coolest thing to me.
Yeah, how was the weather?
It wasn't that bad except for the final round. It was pretty windy all 3 days, but it was windy and rainy the last
Raining.
day. But yeah,
It's
it
always
was all
raining over
right.
there. It seems like every time
Yeah,
it's on TV, it's always raining,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So college sports, right? And you already said before, hey, you want to be a professional golfer.
Hmm.
But how else do you think playing college sports? It's so early for you now, though. But how else do you think that's going to impact your future? Because you could play professional golf for a long time, but then
Yeah,
eventually, I should say, mother time always catches up to us, right?
yeah,
Father time, mother time always catches up to us, and then it's what's next. What do you see that future looking like, and how does golf
yeah.
impact it?
I mean, I think golf is kind of a unique thing where, even if I'm not playing competitive golf, I can still play golf all the time. So I still see, even if I decide it's not professional golf, I still see golf being a huge part of my life. Um, like that's where I've met so many great friends. It's where I've had so many cool experiences. I also think just like from a business perspective, like golf opens so many doors. Um, so I think like golf will always be an important thing in my life. Um, and I think just like having the lessons I've learned already playing college golf and just like the things that you have to do as a Division 1 athlete, like, time management, leadership, like there are just things like that that, you're never going to forget, like being able to work with people who, you might not necessarily get along with super well, or, just like things like that, are going to stick with me.
Now, do you see yourself being a college coach one day, maybe a professional coach?
Um, I would consider it. I would consider it for sure.
Yeah. All right. So again, you're not that far out of the process. If you can go back and talk to the girls, the younger girls coming out of high school who,
Hmm.
they want to be you. They see you, they want to be you, they want to follow your path. What kind of advice can you give the young high school girls now who have golf as their aspiration and they want to
Hmm.
follow a similar path as you?
Hmm.
What can you go back and tell them?
Ooh. I mean, I guess something that I wish I knew was to believe in yourself, believe in what you can do, and like if you don't believe it, no one else is believing it for you. Um, yeah, like I know it's super hard to really fully believe that you can do something, but I feel like once you start to believe it, like even a little bit, that's when things start to click. Um, Also another one I would say like being a hard worker, being gritty, that is something that is so valuable. And if you invest enough time and you're doing it the right way and you're doing the hard things every single day and you're doing the things that you don't necessarily want to do and the things that people don't always see, like you're gonna see the improvement, you're gonna get better, and that's really like that's when that's when you'll see the most jumps.
You sound like your mother.
Really.
Because I saw, I don't know, I was clicking through a lot of your videos and stuff, and I think it was your mother on there saying that you're very gritty,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. So I think that was your mother.
Yeah, that was my mom. I know a video you're talking about.
Hey, it's all over. It's out there on the internet, right? So
Yeah.
how about, you know, have you had any significant setbacks, in your athletic career so far?
um I mean, I think the hearing the no my senior year from the school I really wanted to go to, I think that was like that kind of flipped a switch for me because I feel like um even though I do think I'm a hard worker, I think I've started working a lot harder in the last couple years. I also think I was, like I feel like golf is kind of in my blood. Like my dad tried to give professional golf a go. He's a very good golfer. My mom's just like a really good athlete. Um, so like even when I, you know, didn't practice that much, I wasn't like bad at golf. So I feel like that was kind of something that, played to an advantage for me. I'm sorry, what was your question exactly? I
As
forgot.
far as any significant setbacks?
Okay. Um, but I mean, I feel like one that was probably pretty tough. I hurt my back that summer after when I was in between my senior year and the gap year I did. Ended up herniating a disc in my back. Um, and for someone like me who like likes to trust preparation and like hard work and like putting in the practice time, I really wasn't able to practice. So I qualified for the US junior, and then I herniated a disc in my back the week later, and then I could not practice for 2 weeks. And obviously like going into the US junior, a tournament where pretty much every single college golf coach is at, like that was something that was super nerve-wracking for me. um and I played solid, but definitely like I feel like I could have done better if I didn't hurt my back. And then, I played through a lot of pain that summer. And then, being from New England, once I ended up committing to Georgetown, I didn't play pretty much for 6 months. So that was really, really tough. It's also just, I think like as an athlete, it's really hard um taking away the thing that you love so much and the thing that you
Yeah.
invest so much in. Um, because like like swinging a golf club hurt that bad that like I
Yeah.
couldn't play. And even when I was playing over the summer, like even when I got like an okay from the doctor, like not even like a assured yes, you should be practicing. It was like, okay, putt for 10 minutes and then lie on the ground for 30. Like it just, that's not that fun.
No.
Um, so
So so
that was
so
probably the biggest one.
how do you stay motivated? How do when your doctor says, "Hey, go sit down, don't swing anymore. You got to take time off." How do you stay
Yeah.
focused and motivated? And what did you do during that time? Were there other things you could do to keep working on things, or was it just, "Hey, do nothing for this time"?
Yeah, I mean, so I did PT like 3 days a week, and that was something that was super helpful. I also, I kind of tried different things out. I saw what worked. I saw a chiropractor, I tried needling, I tried like cryotherapy. Um, but really like, I was doing all those things for golf. So it was like, even though it didn't look like the golf that I wanted to be at that time, like I was still investing in the future that I wanted to see. Um, so I think that's also like an important thing. Like, although it may not look like what you want it to look like right now, like you still like making the steps, even if they're smaller, even if they're, you know, a little bit lower, they were a setback. Like there's still steps to doing what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, I love what you just said. You were still investing in the future that you wanted to see, you know?
Yeah.
And I've heard I forget a long time ago, I heard somebody say, because everybody hears athletes talk about, oh, you got to sacrifice this, you got to sacrifice that. Is it really a
Hmm.
sacrifice? Or, like you said, is it an investment of your time for the future that
Hmm.
you want a bigger return for down the road? You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of you have to find the happy medium for yourself. And I feel like being from New England and not being able to golf in the winter for so many years, um, it's kind of made me appreciate now like being able to play year-round golf that much more. Because I feel like, in middle school and like really before COVID, because once COVID happened, my family, we lived in Florida for most of the winters and then we would just come back and forth and we were able to do that with online school, just through our public high school. Um, but before then, like I skied in the winters, I played basketball, I had a really good balance. And now like I feel like I'm finally able to do all the things that I've wanted to do. So um yeah, and it's also like my goals are golf. Like I want to play good golf. I want to like I have just like accomplishments in college and in amateur golf and in hopefully professional golf that like those mean so much more to me than like going to the party on the weekends
Yeah.
or like whatever it is. And I do think it's important to find a balance and like still take time for yourself and like go to the football game if you want to go to the football game, but
Yeah.
um at the end of the day, like I feel like if you have your priorities in line, um you know it's some of them are sacrifices, but a lot of them are just making the choice that you want to make.
Yeah. Make the right choices. So how do you handle the pressure of, you know, the high stake tournaments, the high stake shots? You know, how do you just handle mentally the high stake competition at the level that you're at? Because it's the above average, the way above average person that can do that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like something that I do is I remind myself that pressure is privilege. Um, and if I wasn't good enough and I haven't worked as hard as I did, I wouldn't be in some of the positions that I am in. Um, and I think that that is something that's really cool because it's also like I feel like now like the tournaments that excite me more and like you almost have more adrenaline going into because they mean that much more to you, like you kind of play better in them. Um, and I feel like when I was younger, the bigger tournaments definitely made me really, really nervous. And I would just think like, oh, like, there's so many people better than me. But I feel like now, like, I'm trying to go into the bigger tournaments, like one, like more excited and I can do this. But two, like really as like an opportunity to showcase how hard I've been working. Um, and I feel like that's like a big shift. I also feel like actually like even this fall, even though I haven't been here that long, something really important that I've learned and I've never viewed golf in this way before was and this was something that my coaches told us before the first tournament, like control what you can control. So you can control how much you eat, you can control your effort, you can control hydration, you can control your attitude. So if you can control what you can control, and go out there and focus on that and just see what happens, it's a lot harder to like get upset with yourself because like even say like our tournament in the Bahamas, I played really bad the first day and it was right after the tournament that was the best tournament of my life. And I was kind of just like what happened? And I talked a lot about it with my coach and you know, he was like, you never gave up, you never gave up. It just wasn't your day. And I think like putting things into perspective like that, like, Nelly Korda shoots 80, like Scotty Scheffler four putts sometimes. Like golf is really hard.
Yeah.
And, at times you're not gonna have it. And that's okay. And that doesn't take away from everything, even though it's really, really hard in the moment. Cause
Yeah.
that number, it can feel so personal. And it's like you don't want that number to be a bad number. And sometimes it's gonna be. But I feel like now, like, and learning from my coaches, like going out there and controlling what I can control, it takes a lot of pressure off of you and just allows you to focus on what you
Yeah.
what you can do.
Right. Well, let me flip it on you a little bit. You
Okay.
say control what you can control, which is all you can really do.
Yeah.
But how do you handle other people's expectations of you?
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like that one's probably a little bit harder. Um, I also feel like, um, I feel like already here, like my coaches, I feel like they see something in me, that's a great thing. And that's something that, I would have wanted coming in here. But I feel like that definitely brings more pressure in itself. Also, we had a girl leave and turn professional this fall. So just like knowing that going into championship season that, we're down a player who was a really good player. It puts a little bit more pressure on the people who are still left. And I'm putting a little bit more pressure on myself to get that much better, to be able to help the team that much more so we can still achieve what we want to do as a team. Um, and I think that probably is a harder piece than anything, especially playing team sports or well, golf now being a team sport here in college. Um, and also like the tournament at the Bahamas was the first time I ever feel like I truly let people down. Um, like my team expects better from me and my coaches expect better from me. And, you know, to like go and have dinner with them, it was really hard. Yeah. So I feel like I'm still working on that one,
Yeah.
but
Now, how that's a great point you just brought up. Their expectations of you are high, right? You have
mhm,
a bad day. Okay, every athlete, I don't care what sport it is, some guys have bad seasons, right? But you had a bad day. And now you feel like you let them down. You go out
mhm,
to dinner. I don't know how many girls are on the team. There's 10. I don't know, not a
mhm.
lot.
Yeah.
How do they treat you after that? Do they like help you shake it off? Is like, hey, don't worry about it? Or are they like, hey man, you just messed the things up?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like at least in the women's golf world, like no one's gonna be like, you messed this up.
Right.
They're gonna probably so like for me, like if I play bad, I usually get pretty quiet. So like I was pretty quiet at lunch and then I ended up talking to my coach because we went out to practice and I went to the range and I was like, okay, like here's what I think wasn't great today. And I like piped five drives exactly how I wanted to hit them on the range. And I was just like I also like I feel like I was playing good this fall and it was kind of like a what just happened type of round.
Right.
So I just felt like me practicing right now, I don't know how efficient this is going to be. I don't really know what I need to work on. I feel like I've been playing pretty good. Um, and I ended up just talking to my coach and like I feel like talking out loud is something that like really helps me on those bad days. So we talked for probably 2 hours and then, we went and chilled. And then when we went to dinner, we talked about like what we need to do better for the next day and the people who played well, like what do they think that what do they think helped them and were able to put up a good number at the end of the day. And I just remember like being at that dinner table and um both the girls who had kind of vocalized what they think had went well, they were looking directly at me. And it was just like, like I knew it was supposed to be like a group thing, but they were looking right at me. And I know it was coming from both upperclassmen on our team who I think were just trying to help me and like give me some positive feedback heading into tomorrow. But um, you don't want to be in that position. You want to be the one that's trying to help the other people. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was tough.
Well, you'll get your shot. You know,
Yeah.
there's going to be plenty of times where there's going to be girls on your team that are having a rough day, and you're going to be crushing it, and you're going to have to go pull them up. That's what a team
Yeah.
does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what I always tell people is everybody says, well, that's what the captains are supposed to do. Well, sometimes the captains aren't really leaders, and sometimes the leaders of the team aren't the captains.
Yeah.
You know, but that's cool. You want them to kind of pull you up. You
Yeah.
know. But so how about, competition, man? And again, I've never played competitive golf. I've played very bad golf in years ago, but never played competitive.
Hmm.
Tell me when it's brought out the best in you and the worst in you.
Okay. Um, you know, I feel like my sister Molly brings out the best in me.
Mm,
And I feel like, like just like so many times throughout our whole life, like we've had so many like sister rivalries, whatever, tournaments that feel like they're just Molly and I, and it's almost like the rest of the field like isn't even there. Like it's literally just that. But I feel like a good example would be this summer at the Mass Women's Am. Um, we ended up this was the first time we had got paired together to be facing each other in the semifinals, but really we haven't played each other in match play in a tournament ever. Um,
what was that
and
like? That must have been crazy, huh?
it was kind of crazy. But I mean, we both had a feeling whoever won that match had a good chance to win the whole tournament. And now, especially with a lot of the state AMs, you get if you win, you get an exemption to the USAM the following year. Um, so now you're not only playing for your state championship and like the biggest event in Massachusetts, like you're playing for something so good. Like playing in the USAM is such an incredible experience. Um, so like we both want it so, so, so much. And we're teeing off that first tee and there's just so much intensity. Like there's no conversation between the two of us during the round. Like even the caddies like feel the tension. Um, and it's not like a bad tension or anything. I just think it's like a motivating tension that you want it so badly. Um, but anyways, that match ended up going 20 holes and pretty much both of our matches the rest of the week. I don't think any of them got past 15 holes. Um, so it was definitely like the hardest match of the whole tournament for me. And, it was a great match of golf. Um, I started out leading and then Molly birdied 9, 10, and 11. Um, so then she got it back and then I made a bomb of a putt on 13. Um, we both par 14. She made a really good up and down from the bunker. I stick one on 15. She hits a great bunker shot, but I end up making the putt. I go long on 16, make a 20 footer. She misses her putt. 17, which is a really tough par three. Um, like really tough. We both end up making par, which was really good. And then she hits the golf ball a little bit longer than me. So the 18th hole was a par five that she could reach into. And I didn't hit a very good wedge shot in. I made like a 6 footer safe par and she didn't make her birdie putt. Um, and then you go back to one and the first hole was par five and I hit a really good, my eagle shot. It almost went in and then I had like maybe this much for birdie. And she made like a 12 footer to push the match. And then I made a really good two putt on, the 20th hole and she wasn't able to match it. So that was the win, but that was probably one of the greatest matches of golf I've ever played.
And you got that down stroke by stroke.
It's hard to forget something like that.
Jesus. And how long ago was
Yeah.
that?
That was in August, but I mean, like we've had so many matches. Like I remember I was 14 years old and Molly was 13, and she shot a 29 on the back nine, 7 under to beat me by a shot. So it's just like things like that like because we want to beat each other so bad, like it really brings out the best golf in each other.
Yeah. Wow. That's really cool. Yeah, but it's amazing
Yeah.
how you have this, the 12th, the 13th, the 14th. She did this, I did that. Like you have it like it etched in your head,
Yeah.
you know? That's really
Yeah.
cool. So let's talk. You gave advice about high school girls thinking about on the
Mhm.
recruiting process, right? But how about,
Mhm.
what advice can you give to the young high school athletes, women athletes about the change from high school to college and what it's like to walk on a college campus. And you have two different experiences. One is city school, suburban school, but major big time college campuses. What advice can you give them about making that transition mentally and physically from high school to college sports?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a big one that like a lot of, first timers feel when they're away from home for the first time is homesickness. So I feel like it's really important to, still feel as connected to you as you can to your family and like the people that love you, especially like, golf, like you're going in and you're starting your in season. So, you're going there and, you're meeting all these new people that are supposed to be your team and like you're home away from home, but then you go into qualifying and like the first couple weeks can be really hard. Like if you don't make the first lineup, and then you're not traveling and the only people you've really met are away. Like it can be really hard. So like my best piece of advice would be practice hard this summer before you go. Feel confident in where your game is at heading into school. Um, and know that you belong. Like you wouldn't be
Mm.
there and you wouldn't have been recruited there if you weren't. And a lot of times the people that they're bringing in are better than the people that are there because they're trying to grow the program. So just like never doubt your abilities. And yeah, I mean, I feel like having a strong start and hopefully like continuing that is I think it's really important.
Well, and that it's funny you say that. You never doubt your abilities. That leads me right into my next question is what do you think are the biggest sources of stress for a
Mhm.
young college athlete, breaking in right off the bat?
Yeah, I mean, I think depending on what your major is, I think school can be a really hard stress. I think um the newfound independence that you have and like someone's not there telling you what to do every single minute. Like you have your coach, but um like at least at a school like University of Georgia, like the coaches give you so much freedom, which is so nice. But if you are not a type of person that's great at like setting a structure, like planning about your day, like that can be something that's challenging. um I also feel like a big one, like make sure you're getting enough sleep, like that is so huge. And then also from like the friend front, I feel like just like knowing that you're gonna make friends. It might not be in the first few weeks, it might not be when you're in season, but like you're gonna make friends, you're gonna meet people who you love. It might just take a little bit of time.
Okay, that's great advice. So how about this one? You know, how do you, and then how can you help the younger girls coming in handle the pressure to perform on the golf course
Mhm.
and in the classroom?
Ooh. Um, I mean, I'm still trying to find that balance. I think it's just being very clear with like all your assignments and knowing when the important dates are and just really prioritizing that. Um, and also like although it's not fun, like if you have to do work on the road, you have to do work on the road and try to have open lines of communication with your professors and see if they can be a little bit flexible with deadlines because 36 whole days are tough for work.
That's 36 holes in one day.
Mhm.
That's a lot,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? I mean, and you're walking all that. You don't even take a cart,
Yeah.
So on the super hot days or the rough days, 36 holes, man. When you're on hole six, you got a lot to do, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so how about this? I mean, it's kind I'm gonna guess it's early for you for this question, but I'm gonna throw it at you anyway. How long have you been playing golf? You were what, 13, you said, or 11?
I've played my whole life, but I played seriously since I was 11.
11. All right.
Yeah.
And you're a young 20 now. You're getting old, right?
Yeah.
And have you felt any form of burnout yet? Any form of like, this is just a lot.
I mean, I also feel like because I'm from Massachusetts and I've had so much time that I wasn't able to play golf, I feel like I really haven't had any burnout. I mean, I think probably the closest thing to it was, the fall of my senior year when, it felt like everything that I had worked for and everything that I had always dreamed of was kind of like slipping through my fingers. I feel like that was probably the closest thing I've ever felt to burnout. Um, Yeah, and I mean, I feel like you just have to like what I did, I had a really great support system and I had friends that, you know, love me for who I am, even if it's not like they don't know me as Morgan the golfer, they know me as Morgan. And like surrounding yourself by people like that, that was really helpful for me.
And that's great. So give me some of your goals, your aspirations, just while you're at Georgia. I know professional golf is coming, but are you SEC champ? What's the goals looking like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of scary verbalizing them out loud, especially on like a platform because you don't want to, let yourself down. But just to be blunt and put it out there, like I'd love to be an All-American. Um, I want to have an individual win by the time I graduate college. Hopefully more than one. I want my team to make it to nationals every single year that we can. I want to have as many team wins as possible, and I really want to see what this team can do because I think that this team could be something really special, which is cool to be a part of.
Okay. Now, what does it take to be an All-American in golf? Like, what do you have to do?
Um, so it's kind of not like there's no like exact blueprint for it. You just kind of have to play good enough and your ranking be good enough and have performed strong enough in several events that you're on the list. It's
Is it
kind of
like the
like that.
top 10 become All-Americans or top six?
So there's usually like first team, second team, and then honorable mentions. Um, I'm not sure exactly how many are on each list, but I think it's usually about like 40 golfers a year.
Wow. Okay. I didn't think it was that many.
Maybe it's 30. It's
No?
not that many. Yeah. I'm not
Oh, yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
sure
I mean,
though.
like 30 or 40 is a lot out of how many golfers are out there and the
A
top
lot.
30 or 40, you know? How about
Yeah.
how about what's the goal professionally? Is that something that's not too far down the road? Is that something, hey, you're going to graduate first and then that focus then? Like, how's that work?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm definitely going to graduate college. That's something that's really important to me. I feel like just like getting your education is something super important. And also, like, you can only play 4 years of college golf. Like, you might as well enjoy all four. Um, so yeah, I definitely want to graduate college, and then I'll probably go to Q school. That's kind of my plan right now. Um, yeah. And then, like the dream would be to make it on the LPGA tour. That'd be really, really cool.
Right. Now, what's the age bracket for women in professional golf? Are you considered a younger person now? Are you considered right in line? How does that work?
I mean definitely like in comparing it to the PGA Tour, like the LPGA Tour is younger. Um, yeah, like a lot of women that are on the LPGA Tour do not go to college or they do not stay for 4 years, which is kind of interesting. I also feel like now with PGA Tour U for the guys, like in staying 4 years and then rewarding you for playing, exceptional golf in college and, being able to make that transition right away to the PGA Tour or at least have starts or, even if it's not the PGA Tour, the Corn Ferry Tour. I think that's great. I really hope something like that in my time at college comes out for the women's side of things. Um, yeah, like because it's no joke, 3 stages of qualifying to be able to make your card and then even then, like, like the Epson tour is super great. And I think it's made strides in like how much they're paying the women, but like, you want to be on the LPGA tour for sure.
Yeah. Well, based on where you're at now, again, my opinion and what you've done so far, and your intensity is incredible. You're just listening to you talk about, your drive, your work ethic, your willingness to do what it takes to succeed, and putting yourself out there, putting yourself on the line, and it's cool to hear, and I'm sure we'll see you out there. That's going to be fun. I'll be looking
Thank
forward to
you.
turning on the TV one day and say, hey, I know her. You know.
That'll be cool. I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Oh yeah. Well, Molly, listen, this is, I mean, Morgan. Why I say Molly? Morgan. This has been great. I really appreciate you being on here. Is there anything I haven't asked you yet? Anything you think we should chat about before we wrap it up?
I mean, I guess the only thing that's kind of popping in my head, like just something really cool that like kind of shows how much like golf is in my family was this past summer. Myself and both of my sisters, we all played in the U.S. Women's Am together.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Kind of random, but that was, I think they at least told us it was the first time they ever had three siblings playing the same USGA event. So I feel like that was just so cool. And like, I feel like that was, I know my parents thought it was like a really rewarding moment for them. And it was really cool to, be out there in such a competitive field that so many people strive to be in, with two of your best friends.
Yeah. Now, how old are all three of you?
So I'm 20, Molly's 19, and Maddie's 16. And Maddie just actually, she committed to play at the University of Memphis.
Oh my goodness. So she's 16. So she's got a shot at being in there when you're still there.
Yeah, she'll be a freshman when I'm a senior.
Now, does Memphis play Georgia?
Golf is, it's kind of weird. So it's just a different schedule every year. So I don't think we have them on the schedule this year, but you never know for the next coming years.
What's that got to be like for your father? Do all four of you go out and play golf together in a foursome?
Yeah, not that often anymore, but yeah, sometimes.
Man, that's got to be so cool.
It's so competitive.
Oh my God, I cannot. Do you guys yell at each other while you're out there doing that?
We all want to win for sure.
Well, Morgan, this has been great. I really appreciate you being on this show, and I wish you all the best of luck and
Thank
in this
you.
golf season and in your future. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the tour.
Thank you. I hope so.
We'll see.
Thank you for having me too.
Yeah, we'll see you out there.